I remember the day as if it were yesterday. I had just wrapped up a major project at work, and the exhaustion I felt was unlike anything I had ever experienced. Initially, I brushed it off as just being overworked, but when the muscle pain and recurring fevers started, I knew something was seriously wrong. Mark, my boyfriend and a biologist, insisted I see a doctor. That's how I ended up in Dr. Richard's office, a renowned specialist in rare diseases. "Anna, we need to run some tests," Dr. Richard said after listening to my symptoms. A week later, I found myself sitting nervously in his office again. Mark was beside me, holding my hand tightly. Dr. Richard walked in with a somber expression, and my heart sank. "Anna, the results are in. You have Radcliffe syndrome, a rare and currently incurable disease," he said softly. The words hit me like a freight train. I felt the world around me crumble. Mark squeezed my hand harder, his eyes filled with worry and determination. "But there has to be something we can do," I stammered, refusing to accept the diagnosis as a death sentence. Dr. Richard sighed. "There are experimental treatments and holistic approaches we can explore, but I must be honest with you, the prognosis is not good. However, I will support you every step of the way." Leaving his office, I felt a mix of despair and a spark of resolve. I refused to let this diagnosis define my life. I began to research obsessively, spending countless nights reading medical journals, patient testimonies, and anything I could find on Radcliffe syndrome. Mark, true to his word, was my rock. He used his expertise in molecular biology to help me understand the complexities of the disease. "Anna, look at this," Mark said one evening, pointing to a study on his laptop. "There are experimental therapies being tested. It's a long shot, but it's worth looking into." We spent months exploring every possible avenue, from cutting-edge genetic therapies to alternative treatments like acupuncture and herbal medicine. Despite the grim outlook, I felt a sense of purpose. Each small discovery, each piece of information, brought us a step closer to hope. One night, after another long session of research, Mark looked at me with a determined expression. "We're not giving up, Anna. There's a solution out there, and we'll find it together." His words were a lifeline. Despite the uncertainty and the fear, I knew I had to keep fighting. With Mark and Dr. Richard by my side, I embarked on this arduous journey with a renewed sense of determination. The road ahead was filled with challenges, but giving up was not an option. Dr. Richard was a constant pillar of support, always ready to discuss new findings and offer his professional insight. One day, during a particularly difficult period when I was grappling with severe fatigue and pain, he gave me a piece of advice that stuck with me. "Anna, your resilience is your greatest weapon. Use it wisely." Those words became my mantra. I threw myself into the search for a cure with an intensity I didn't know I had. Mark and I became a team, each discovery fueling our hope and strengthening our bond. The journey was grueling, but every small victory was a testament to our unyielding spirit. As the months passed, the support from Mark and Dr. Richard, combined with my relentless pursuit of answers, began to pay off. I found solace in our shared belief that a breakthrough was possible. This was just the beginning of a long journey, but I knew we were on the right path. The fight against Radcliffe syndrome had become more than just a personal battle, it was a mission to bring hope to others facing the same daunting diagnosis. I remember the exact moment when Mark and I stumbled upon the article that would change everything. We had been buried in research for months, our apartment in Houston transformed into a makeshift laboratory and library. Stacks of medical journals, printouts, and notebooks were scattered everywhere. The atmosphere was one of both desperation and relentless determination. "Anna, you need to see this," Mark said, his eyes wide with excitement as he pointed to his laptop screen. "It's a paper on a new gene therapy by Dr. Emily Carter. She's been working on it at a lab in California." My heart skipped a beat as I leaned over to read the abstract. The therapy was still in its experimental stages, but the results they were getting were nothing short of revolutionary. It seemed to offer a glimmer of hope for those suffering from rare genetic conditions like mine. Do you think it's worth a shot? I asked, my voice trembling with a mixture of hope and fear. Mark nodded confidently. Absolutely. We have to reach out to Dr. Carter. This could be the breakthrough we've been looking for. The next few days were a blur of frantic emails and phone calls. Dr. Richard, my primary physician, was instrumental in making the connection. He had a network of colleagues in the medical research community, and he used every bit of his influence to get us a foot in the door. Dr. Carter, this is Anna. She's been diagnosed with Radcliffe syndrome, Dr. Richard said during a video conference call. We've read about your work and believe it could be her best chance. Dr. Carter, a woman in her early 40s with a sharp, analytical gaze, listened intently. Anna, I've reviewed your medical history. Your case is complex, but I believe our therapy could potentially help. However, I must be honest, this is still experimental. There are risks involved. I understand the risks, Dr. Carter, I replied, meeting her gaze through the screen. I'm willing to take them. I can't sit back and do nothing. With that, arrangements were made for me to join the clinical trials in California. The journey there was a whirlwind of emotions. Mark and I boarded the plane with a mixture of hope, fear, and cautious optimism. The stakes were high, but so was our determination. Upon arriving at the lab, the reality of the situation hit me. The sterile environment, the advanced equipment, and the team of researchers buzzing around created an atmosphere of both apprehension and excitement. Welcome, Anna, Dr. Carter greeted me warmly. We'll start with some preliminary tests to establish a baseline. Then we can proceed with the therapy. Over the next few weeks, I underwent a series of rigorous tests. The initial treatments were grueling, and the side effects were severe. There were days when I felt like giving up, my body racked with pain and exhaustion. But every time I looked at Mark, who was always by my side, and thought of the possibility of a future without the debilitating symptoms, I found the strength to continue. One evening, after a particularly harsh session, I broke down in tears. I don't know if I can keep doing this, Mark, I confessed, my voice barely above a whisper. He took my hand, his eyes filled with unwavering support. Anna, you are the strongest person I know. We've come this far, and we're not turning back now. You can do this. Dr. Carter was equally supportive, constantly monitoring my progress and adjusting the treatment as necessary. You're doing remarkably well, Anna, she said during one of our consultations. The initial results are promising. Just hang in there a little longer. Gradually, I began to notice subtle improvements. The constant fatigue that had plagued me for so long started to lift, and the muscle pains became less frequent. Each small victory felt monumental, a testament to the perseverance and hope that had driven us to this point. As the therapy continued, the improvements became more pronounced. There were still challenges and setbacks, but the overall trend was positive. The day Dr. Carter confirmed that the therapy was working felt like a dream. Anna, your latest tests show significant improvement. The therapy is taking effect, she announced, a rare smile breaking across her usually serious face. Mark and I embraced, tears of joy streaming down our faces. We did it, Anna. We really did it, he whispered. The journey was far from over, but we had crossed a critical threshold. The therapy not only offered me a new lease on life, but also opened the door for others suffering from Radcliffe syndrome. Our fight had just begun, but for the first time in a long while, the future looked bright. The moment I began to see the tangible results of my treatment felt nothing short of a miracle. After enduring months of grueling therapy and countless nights filled with uncertainty, my symptoms started to wane. The constant fatigue that had once crippled my every move began to lift, the relentless muscle pains subsided, and the fevers that had haunted me became rare occurrences. It was as if I was emerging from a long, dark tunnel, finally stepping into the light. Anna, your latest test results are phenomenal, Dr. Richard said during one of our routine checkups. His eyes gleamed with a mixture of professional pride and genuine happiness for me. Your body is responding to the therapy in ways we had hoped but didn't dare to fully expect. Mark, who had been my pillar of strength throughout this journey, squeezed my hand tightly. I knew we'd find a way, he said, his voice choked with emotion. I just knew it. The news of my improvement spread quickly within the medical community and soon reached the ears of other patients suffering from Radcliffe syndrome. My inbox was inundated with messages from people desperate for hope, asking for guidance and, above all, a chance at the same miracle I was experiencing. It was overwhelming but also deeply humbling. I realized that my struggle and determination had the potential to be a beacon of hope for others. One evening, as Mark and I sat on our porch, basking in the warm Texas twilight, I turned to him with a newfound resolve. We have to do more, I said. We can't just stop at my recovery. There are so many others out there who need help, who need hope. Mark nodded, his eyes reflecting the same determination. What are you thinking? I want to start a foundation, I said, the idea forming more clearly in my mind with each passing second. A place where people with rare diseases can find information, support, and access to innovative treatments. We can use our experience and the connections we've made to help others. Mark's face broke into a proud smile. I think that's a brilliant idea. And you know I'll be right there with you, every step of the way. With the unwavering support of Mark and the invaluable expertise of Dr. Richard, we began laying the groundwork for the foundation. It wasn't easy, there were countless legalities to navigate, funds to raise, and awareness to build. But the cause fueled us, and soon, the foundation began to take shape. The response was beyond anything we could have imagined. Donations poured in from all corners of the globe, and we quickly gained the attention of prominent figures in the medical and philanthropic communities. Our mission resonated with many, and the foundation became a symbol of hope and perseverance. One afternoon, as we prepared for the launch event of the foundation, Dr. Richard pulled me aside. Anna, he said, his voice filled with pride, what you're doing here is nothing short of extraordinary. You've turned your personal battle into a movement that will help thousands. I felt a lump form in my throat. I couldn't have done it without you and Mark, I said, my voice barely above a whisper. This is as much your victory as it is mine. As the foundation continued to grow, so did I. The journey had not only healed my body but also transformed my spirit. I found a new sense of purpose, a deeper understanding of resilience, and an unshakable belief in the power of hope. Through the foundation, I connected with countless individuals, each with their own stories of struggle and triumph, and each time, I was reminded of the incredible strength of the human spirit. And so, from the depths of despair, my journey with Radcliffe syndrome became a testament to the power of determination, the importance of support, and the unyielding pursuit of hope. Through the foundation, my story became intertwined with many others, creating a tapestry of resilience and inspiration that would continue to grow, touching lives and fostering change for years to come. At the height of my foundation's success, I began to notice some unsettling patterns. Donations were flooding in, but there was something off about the generosity of a few major contributors. One evening, as Mark and I were going through some of the financial reports, he looked up at me with a concerned expression. Anna, have you noticed that a significant portion of our recent donations are coming from subsidiaries of the same pharmaceutical conglomerate? He asked. I paused, my heart sinking. No, I hadn't. Which conglomerate are you talking about? Pharmatech, he replied, his voice tinged with unease. Pharmatech was notorious in the industry for its aggressive business tactics and questionable ethics. The realization hit me like a ton of bricks. Had they been using my foundation as a front to push their own agenda? Determined to get to the bottom of this, I contacted Dr. Richard. Richard, we need to meet as soon as possible. Something isn't right, I said, my voice trembling slightly. Of course, Anna. Come by my office tomorrow, he replied, sounding equally concerned. The next day, Mark, Dr. Richard, and I pored over the documents. It became clear that Pharmatech was indeed trying to leverage the foundation to promote their own interests and control the research. I can't believe this, I said, feeling a mix of anger and betrayal. How could they do this? How could they try to exploit something so pure? Mark put a reassuring hand on my shoulder. We won't let them get away with it. We'll fight this, Anna. Dr. Richard nodded in agreement. We need to expose them. But it won't be easy, they're a powerful entity with deep pockets. The following weeks were some of the most challenging of my life. We launched an investigation, gathered evidence, and prepared for a legal battle. Pharmatech retaliated with a vicious campaign of defamation, trying to discredit me and the foundation. They accused us of mismanagement, fraud, and even questioned my diagnosis and recovery. One night, overwhelmed by the stress and the relentless attacks, I found myself on the verge of giving up. Mark found me sitting on the porch, tears streaming down my face. I don't know if I can do this anymore, Mark. It's just too much, I admitted, my voice cracking. He sat down beside me, taking my hand in his. Anna, think about all the people you've helped. Think about the lives you've changed. If you give up now, they win. But if you keep fighting, you can expose the truth and bring justice. His words reignited the fire within me. I couldn't let Pharmatech win. I had to keep fighting, not just for myself, but for everyone who believed in our cause. Then, when it seemed like we were losing the battle, a miracle happened. A former executive from Pharmatech, racked with guilt and seeking redemption, came forward with damning evidence against the company. He provided documents, emails, and recordings that proved Pharmatech's unethical practices and their attempts to manipulate the foundation. Armed with this new evidence, we took Pharmatech to court. The trial was grueling, but in the end, justice prevailed. The company was ordered to pay a massive settlement, which we funneled back into the foundation. The corrupt executives were held accountable, facing fines and prison sentences. As the verdict was read, a wave of relief washed over me. Mark hugged me tightly, and Dr. Richard smiled with pride. You did it, Anna. You fought for the truth and won. The victory was more than just a personal triumph. It was a testament to the power of resilience, ethics, and the unwavering pursuit of justice. Our foundation emerged stronger, more transparent, and more committed than ever to helping those in need. When everything seemed lost, an unexpected turn of events occurred. Out of the blue, I received a call from an anonymous number. Hesitant but curious, I answered. Hello, is this Anna? A voice asked. Yes, this is she. Who's speaking? I replied cautiously. My name is John Harris. I used to work for the pharmaceutical company you're currently fighting against. I need to meet you. I have information that could change everything. Skeptical yet desperate for any glimmer of hope, I agreed to meet John at a nearby coffee shop. I informed Mark and Dr. Richard, who insisted on coming with me for support. As we sat in the dimly lit corner of the cafe, John arrived, looking nervous and wary. He introduced himself and began to explain. Anna, I was part of the team that tried to manipulate your foundation for our own gain. I've seen firsthand the good you're doing, and I can't bear to be part of this corruption any longer, he confessed, his voice trembling. John handed over a folder filled with incriminating documents, emails, financial statements, and internal memos that detailed the company's unethical practices and their attempts to exploit our foundation. This is everything you need to bring them down, John said, looking relieved but also afraid of the consequences of his actions. I couldn't believe what I was holding. Thank you, John. You have no idea how much this means to us, I said, tears welling up in my eyes. Mark put a reassuring hand on my shoulder. This could be our breakthrough, Anna. We need to act fast. Dr. Richard nodded in agreement. We should get these documents to our legal team immediately. With renewed determination, we presented the evidence to our lawyers, who were astounded by the sheer volume and gravity of the proof. The legal battle that ensued was intense, but with John's evidence, we had a solid case. The trial was grueling, filled with moments of tension and uncertainty. The pharmaceutical company's legal team was formidable, but the truth was on our side. I took the stand, recounting my journey and the betrayal I had felt. Mark and Dr. Richard also testified, emphasizing the importance of ethical research and the impact our foundation had on so many lives. In a dramatic turn of events, the judge ruled in our favor. The pharmaceutical company was found guilty of numerous unethical and illegal practices. They were ordered to pay a staggering billion-dollar settlement, which we decided to funnel back into our foundation to further research and support for patients with rare diseases. Moreover, the key executives responsible for the malpractices were sentenced to prison, bringing a sense of justice and closure. That evening, as we celebrated our victory, I couldn't help but reflect on the journey that had brought us here. From the devastating diagnosis to the relentless pursuit of a cure, the betrayal by those we trusted, and finally, this monumental triumph, it had been a roller coaster of emotions and challenges. "Anna, this is more than just a win for us," Mark said, raising a glass in a toast. "It's a win for every patient out there who dreams of a cure, who refuses to give up hope." Dr. Richard smiled, his eyes filled with pride. "You've turned a personal battle into a global movement, Anna. This is just the beginning." As we toasted to our victory, I felt a profound sense of accomplishment and gratitude. The journey had been arduous, but it had also been transformative. Together, we had not only found a cure but had also created a legacy of hope, resilience, and ethical medical research. "To the future," I said, clinking my glass with Mark and Dr. Richard. "May it be filled with continued discoveries, unwavering hope, and the relentless pursuit of what's right." In that moment, surrounded by the people who had stood by me through thick and thin, I knew that no matter what challenges lay ahead, we would face them together, stronger and more united than ever. The battle had been won, but the journey of making the world a better place had only just begun.